So this is our current situation. We have our antennas on top. There's surge protection, the grounding, the amplifier and the multi-switch. So what we're going to do now is to place a worksheet next to our drawing and then connect the conduit into this worksheet. Andy is asking if I want to create a new conduit shaft, and I say yes. And what happened now is I have an empty worksheet which has a conduit shaft which actually gives me the connection to our network so far. The reason to use worksheets is that we can split off parts of the network visually. In the place where we place our customer outlets, we don't necessarily need to see all this complex network structure. So we're not going to do this. We're just going to place our customers into a single worksheet. So we're going to have 16 customers in this house. So let's say there's 16 apartments, 4 apartments per story, and there's going to be 4 stories. So let's take some customer outlets. Say this is one apartment, this is another. It's going to be further away. And let's copy this over here. So we'll have one apartment on the far side and one on the close side of the conduit that we're going to draw now in the middle. The only thing left to do is to connect these with a cable. Let's say this is 10 meters to the far apartment and 4 meters to the close one. Now we can copy this cable down to here, so I can see that I was not completely symmetric, which is not a problem because I just grab this, move it onto the shaft. Now I can add cable length cross-text again, and we're set for the first story of our house. So let's go back to copy and paste. We have 1 story, 2, 3, and 4. And since this is rather hard to discern, what we can do is to add a marker rectangle around this and say this symbolizes 1 story of our house. Let's make this dotted line. Now we can copy this a few times so we can see each of these rectangles symbolizes 1 story of our house. Remember that I said that we will use the cable conduit to manage the length earlier. So we'll say the length between the multi-switch and the first customer outlet will be 12 meters. So the cables run through this conduit and will pick up the 12 meters from here. So the distance from the multi-switch to here will actually be 12 meters. So the next thing we have to do is to say what's the distance between our stories. Let's say that's 3 meters in between all of them. So now we have our structure set. The only thing that we have to do now is to connect the cables over the conduit. This can be done automatically by issuing the link command on a piece of conduit where all the cables pass through. So right click the conduit and use link, and AND tells us that 16 cables have been successfully linked. This can be shown by pressing R on a pin of a customer outlet. You can see this is the signal now. And what we can do now is to add a test point to the customer outlet to have the signal shown in a test point. The last step for this demonstration will now be to create a bill of materials. This can be done by issuing the report command from the material menu. You get this dialog where you click new from drawing and the material will be listed. As you can see, if there's prices set in the library, they will automatically be summed up, and you have a list that you can export or print. Using these basic operations, it's also possible to create more complex projects like this one, which is using 4 satellite dishes and a terrestrial antenna, feeding 3 houses down here. Just going to look at one of the houses. Here you can see these are the customer outlets. These also have a return path which is being fed into the network of a large cable provider. And if we press R here, we have the signal calculated like we had in our demo drawing. So thank you for watching. I hope you find AND to be a very useful tool for your DTH projects.